Hi guys, it's the episode 8 of the Endpoint.ROG Academy. We just came off of the most recent stage of stage 4 round robin process. Overall, it was an amazing weekend. I was very surprised with the performance that was put by everyone, especially on such short notice. I was over the moon with the viewership. Overall, it was run so smoothly for such a sped up process. Yeah, just very happy with the weekend itself. I think the players enjoyed it. I think the community enjoyed watching it. Overall, fun weekend. It's made my life very hard to get to the stage. But yeah, big shout out to the top 30 for performing. We listened to community feedback and we realized that after thinking that we'd do it around roughly these dates, 2 weeks, we said community came back and they weren't happy with how long the process has taken because people were in teams. ESK has shortened the off season, so it means that players are needed quite quickly to get ready for the next season. So we listened to community feedback and we sped up the process by 2 weeks. We came to the final 30 and we said, can you play this weekend on 2 days' notice? We had 28 yeses and 2 no's. 2 no's, like one person was away with their family and one was working. That's why they were in team 6. So to have in 2 days have players ready to play on the weekend, especially with team prac outside, life outside, family, work, whatever it might be. I really appreciate the final 30 coming on and doing a solid one to play during the weekend. The effort that was put in by each player and each team. They went on to, after the teams were announced and who they was playing with, they went into their Discord channels and started going over things, started working on things they could do together. To make sure that they were playing at a good standard, knew what they was doing, what positions they were playing. Yeah, big shout out to the final 30 for putting in that dedication. It made my life a lot easier and it pleased the community outside to speed up this process. Again, I just want to touch on the fact of, this is a learning process for me. It's a learning process for Endpoint. We're not going to nail it first time. There's some things we could have done quicker. There's some things we could have done differently. But overall, I'm happy with the way we've done it. At the end of the day, I said from the get-go, if a person is in a team and wants to play in this process, that's down to them, but they need to be upfront and honest with their team. I said also that this will take us up to probably the next start of the ESK season, but I can see the frustration, and this is why we sped up the process. Another shout-out as well is to the UK IC admins for helping out and making the event run so smoothly. We had like one small thing, and that was to do with like the casters and their game crash. So it's not really a big deal. I expected there to be more issues. Thankfully, there wasn't. But yeah, overall, shout out to the admins behind the scenes. They're doing a very good job with, the UK IC hub. But anything that Endpoint needs doing or I need doing, whether it's to do the academy or anything else, they're there always to do it firsthand. No complaints. They just come in and do that. So big shout out to them. Another shout out as well is to the casters. They made the weekend be so much more enjoyable to watch. They did an amazing job. It's not easy to cast 15 best of ones in 2 days, non-stop with like one break in between. They casted fantastically. In regards to the Twitch stream, as I said at the start, I was satisfied so much with the performance put on with the players. But to see, the average viewership of 160 viewers to maximum like 215 around there is impressive, and it pleased me so much because at the end of the day, this is there isn't a prize pool on the line. It isn't a proper competition. It's not like a LAN event or an online event. It's just basically an event where it's a review stage of me reviewing players on how they play in a team and how they reach KPIs. So to see the community want to watch this and us reach such good viewership was very pleasing for me, and it only shows within the future what we can do. And here we have some highlights for the weekend.
Fami will just about secure away with his life as he tries to fortify this A site. Kempen, such a pit. Actually ends up taking down his teammate, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter that much. He makes up for the shortcoming by finding a 4K to go with it. 2 people at home, but they're about to come knocking very, very aggressively.
Yeah, that's a beautiful flashbang. It's an absolute classic, that one, the car flash. It's just so effective, and Archer Ace is just going to hold the angle. Nobody's able to take him down. He's still got 69 HP. Nice, as he finds a 4th as well. This defense could be disgusting. Richard Bob, completely blinded, has nowhere to go but into the crosshairs of Jack B and Wolfie. He'll sacrifice himself, but not for the gods. It's for Jack B, who's going to find himself a third, looking for more. He's starting to hit shots again. Gets pinked down, might need to reconsider his approach, and he does. Turnip is next to fall. Yeah, Vacancy. I reckon Vacancy's what is going on. What is this, like, rugby wall charge?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Defensive line is being broken. Oh, considering his Crimson Sash once again are just stopping it all in its tracks. Look at that. Another 3k from Sash, where he barely has to move. And it might even extend to a 4. We love it. MMS gets taken down to follow. Certainly is. Very nice. And what's going to be even nicer is that opening shot from Chaos. The fact that he's able to abscond back into the site, get different positioning, hopefully some assistance from his teammates here to give him some more opportunities to go for more shots, is almost certainly going to be welcomed by the team side. Chaos now flashbangs up though, still able to get a frag, irrespective of the flashbang, goes for the final frag onto Wolfie to try and complete the quadra, and will do so rather easily. MF is not able to react in time. Round the corner goes Kika for a second frag with that collected AK. And now just like that, Zyko is left alone in the site, quickly calls for the assistance of Vacancy and gets it just in time. Just in the nick of time.
A lot of pride at stake. Oh my lord, a lot of players in connector for CT side, and oh, just like that, it's an absolute slaughter.
In front of this wooden barricade, should be an easy frag, doesn't matter anyway, no help needed. Oh, okay, never mind. Chaos has actually brought this one back into a 2 versus 1 with a quick collateral such as that. Unfortunately for him, both those players were on low HP, and there's still Ash remaining. He's no-scoped his way into this round rather fantastically. And Chaos just doesn't have the time, unfortunately. What a disgusting round from him, but it doesn't mean anything in the end.
Going on to the top 10. As stated to the players in the final 30 and some of the community, players are going to be scored on KPIs, individual KPIs and team KPIs. I was scoring these players over the weekend and over their games whilst listening back to the comms, because all comms were recorded. I was scoring them on 6 to 7 maybe KPIs and other external factors on how I reached my 10. Now, I'm not going to go through why each individual player made it through, because that will make this episode last up to like maybe an hour, maybe even longer, the amount I speak. I'm just roughly going to talk about how they reach these KPIs and why I think they've gone through, so on and so forth. So some of the KPIs to mention on why these players ended up making it through was because they reached a sufficient standard scoring in terms of KPIs and other external factors of, would I think they're the best in their role? Do I think that they're the best person I can work with? Are they the best person that fits to the potential final 5? And of course, will they work best with Endpoint? So yeah, some of the KPIs that I was scoring them on, as stated before, was, you know, role presence, communication, utility usage, awareness, you know, positioning, rotations, all these kinds of things over each map. You know, it wasn't just done on one map. And then there's other external factors of like linking KPIs to why they did certain things. You know, are they communicating that they did this thing? Are they communicating what they need to do better? Why did that round not work? You know, just small little things that obviously gives them a bonus on top of that of why they're overall a good player in that sense. So yeah, there's loads of little small factors. And as you know, for people, if you've got experience in building a team or being in a team before, there's a lot that goes into being a good player, and there's a lot that goes into being a teammate. And me being a coach myself, I spot those things and I score them accordingly. You know, I'm not just scoring them on communication on if they, you know, if they've just got clear good communication. You know, obviously that's a pointer, but at the same time, there's other little things that go into these KPIs. Like I said before, are they communicating they're doing anything? Are they communicating that this smoke's been? There's only one smoke here, carrot being a fake. Just examples, you know. There's a lot that goes into each of these individual KPIs. Yeah. In the end, the hardest thing for me through this stage was to pick 2 AWPers to go through. If you look in regards to stats, we had 4 clear cut-out AWPers that statistically played unbelievable the whole weekend. So to pick 2 AWPers to go through, I was sat here spending so much time on because I genuinely didn't know what to do. You know, even linking to the KPIs, linking stats, linking, you know, what they did in the games and stuff. I was really stuck in a situation of who would be best to go through. In the end, I come up with a decision, what I think's best for me, what I think's best for the team. You know, linking the KPIs, linking the stats, linking everything I think the two AWPers that have gone through will work perfectly with me, and eventually work perfectly in the final 5. Just real quickly as well, to give a more insight of how it worked, I had Revilo, the manager of the academy, help me with the sheet to make it easier for me to score, with the demos attached, with the comms, syncing the comms up, ready for me. He also put in cool statistics for me to link to roles. Now, not just statistics off of Faceit where you're seeing KDs and stuff like that. He put in every demo into software where you can see statistics like, pistol rounds, anti-eco kills and stuff like that. First entry kills, stuff like that, multi kills, loads of different little cool stats that I can link to roles. How many kills did the AWPer get with a rifle? How many kills did the AWPer get with the AWP itself? How many opening kills? So it's all linked to the roles. The best example for me for using those stats was obviously riflers and entries, to see how many entries they actually got in the games. Because obviously I watched the whole weekend, but you can't obviously remember all of that. So see those stats and link to each player and how well he did his role really gave me a clear cut out decision of why they should go through and stuff like that. In regards to the top 10 that have gone through, I think some of them could also work well in other roles. So like they have their clear cut out role that they did really well, but they also don't even realize that they're doing another role really well. So like in regards to that, it makes my life easier to come to a final 5 because they suit 2 roles in one player. So like, for example, I had a player that was like calling quite a lot and helping his team to do certain things and to do things at the right time. Not so much taking over what they can do, but really almost like shadow calling and helping that player reach his sufficient standard and do the right thing, and rather than focus on himself. So there's a lot of things that I'm going to work on in this next stage of this final 10 where I really want them to focus in their role specifically, so I can see their clear cut out performance and how well they do that role and how well they can play as a player. So I'm going to give some words of advice in the next stage to both teams and the IGLs to set up the teams as perfect as possible to make sure everyone's playing at a good standard. But yeah, the next stage of the academy, as people might already know, is going to be a 3-map process, almost like a best of 3, but we're going to play all 3 maps. There's going to be 2 teams. I'm going to be live in the server, listening to both communications, switching it up, watching it live, scoring the players again on KPIs, similar KPIs to this stage just done. It's going to be streamed just like the last stage, but we're also going to have the lovely Mighty Max and potentially Ross come in and watch the games with me to help me make a better decision on why these players will be the best suit for the final 5, why they have the potential to potentially play in the main team. So yeah, to have such high skilled and high standard players, coaches, whatever, have their opinion and help me build this team will make my life 10 times easier, and it will give me a better insight on why the final 5s have been made, having their opinion, right? The dates of the next stage is going to be announced on the Endpoint Twitter. We're roughly going to have the final 5 announced by April the 5th, which I'm happy about. The quicker we get this done, the better, because I really just want to focus on my team and, help make sure it doesn't affect the community too much. But overall, it's going to be announced soon on the Twitter. And yeah, we're going to go from there with the stage, which I'm really excited about. Just to touch on about the whole stage in general and the whole process. Again, I'm really happy with how it's gone so far. The final 30 have put on an absolute shift. It was the most enjoyable stage for sure. To finally see the players play was a really good insight for me. It goes to show as well that, all the people watching, they might spot a player that doesn't make it into the next stage and might want to trial him for their team. Players in this process might end up making the team. Who knows? I do think it's gave a good platform for someone to show what they're capable of. I think it's also shown the community that we did have a very good pool of players in that do have the potential to play. So that was a really good thing. To summarise everything that's gone on, I just want to say to everyone that's watching, to the final 30, whether you were successful or not, this decision was the hardest thing I've ever done in esports. It was literally, like, I'm not even just saying it to be a nice guy. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do on a personal level and on as a coach level, like, on an actual professional level. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do. Knowing that saying no to a player who wants it so much really emotionally didn't sit well with me. Knowing that this player wouldn't take it that well and, he wants it that much, he really wanted to make it to the team. I struggled to say no, right? But because I've got a job to do, I've got a team to build, the best team I can build for me, for Endpoint, and as an academy as a whole, I have to do my job. I don't want this to come on a personal level with anyone and you didn't make it through because of this reason. Not at all. I picked the top 10 that reached the best KPI score possible. Also hit other external factors, as I said previously, why they would work best with me, why they would work best with Endpoint, and why they fit perfectly in their role and potentially to make the final five. But other than that, really enjoyed it. Big shout out to everyone that's been watching. So far, it's been an amazing process for me. I've learned a lot, and we're going to only keep learning and hopefully soon have our final fight.